Welcome to the Wellness Show. I'm Dr. Keisha Christian, your host, and so glad that you've tuned in. Well, today we have a special episode. We're excited to provide a compilation of all of the 12 episodes that we presented to you this season. We were so excited to have our first season underway, and it's the end of the season. So we're thankful for all of you who've tuned in the past, and maybe those of you who tuned in for the first time. It's been a wonderful season to bring forth to you. So today we have a special guest, and it is Jeffrey Nichols. He was actually the first host of the Wellness Show. So without further ado, I introduce to you again and welcome Jeffrey Nichols. So glad to have you today during our show.
Thank you for having me back. I certainly hope I met your expectations last time.
Well, let's let the viewers take a look at our first show and see what they think.
We thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's so wonderful to be able to share with people what my passion is and what my plans are.
Well, that being said, if we could get started, could you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, as you all know, I'm Dr. Keisha Christian, and I've been a physical therapist for quite some time. And it's been a rewarding and a gratifying field and profession. I had the opportunity of helping so many people. I've learned a lot from so many people. And so it has led me to today in pursuing this goal of a health and wellness talk show. So I think that you did a wonderful job in our show, and you were very instrumental in allowing me to share all that my plans had to offer for the Wellness Show, and also introduce all of the different episodes that we're going to have. So the next 5 episodes was really focused on physical therapy and physical rehabilitation specialists. You know, that is the passion of mine, and so I invited several physical therapists as well as a veterinarian who provides physical rehabilitation to animals. Her name is Dr. Jennifer Schultz, and we're so glad to have her here today. She's going to share with us about her business, which is Quartet Veterinarian Specialty Emergency Hospital, and where she practices veterinarian rehabilitation. So without further ado, I introduce to you and welcome Dr. Jennifer Schultz. Thank you so much for joining us today.
We all really cared about not only patient outcomes, but client education and keeping our primary or referring veterinarians in the loop about what was going on. And that's where Quartet came from. So our quartet of care is the patient, of course, the client, our referring veterinarian, and us as the specialty veterinarian. So no matter which department you see, whether that's rehab or surgery or emergency, we always keep that in mind. And certainly we have a lot of patients that see multiple services within the hospital and want to keep that education and communication going within the hospital as well.
That's great. I love it. It's such a team approach.
Yes.
And I can imagine with the team approach, the rehabilitation and the treatments for the pet is definitely effective.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about rehab is that it's a very functional approach. I mean, we'd all love to say as veterinarians that we always find the exact thing that's wrong with your pet, right? I do everything from evaluations of what I would call adolescent dogs that maybe are going into dog sports to make sure that their conformation is appropriate, to dogs with musculoskeletal injuries, tendon injuries, ligament injuries, certainly some recovering from fractures or other orthopedic injuries that needed surgery. Dogs with neurologic problems that are not surgical, like a fibrocartilaginous embolism, which is sort of a stroke to the spine, and dogs recovering from spinal surgery. And then I see a lot of senior patients because, you know, our older dogs can have significant pain or dysfunction. Our dogs are living longer and longer. We're taking better and better care of them. We're becoming more and more of a part of the family. So pain management at senior pets is definitely one of my passions, and I see a lot of those dogs.
Share with us about Special Olympics and the history, mission, and objectives of Special Olympics.
Special Olympics was founded by Eunice Kennedy Shriver in her backyard in 1962. She has had a sister named Rose Kennedy Shriver, and Rose inspired her to realize that those with intellectual disabilities are generally hidden, or have been hidden, have not received the same type of personal freedoms and privileges, and have not been seen as equal citizens within our country to start. And that story continues actually around the world. So she decided that she wanted to create sporting events. She felt that sport and activity was something that everybody can participate in and improve in. And so she created Special Olympics as a camp. It was Camp Shriver in her backyard. And then she started gathering support and financial support, and she went to Congress, and she gradually started building Special Olympics. And the first Special Olympics, I think it was World Games, was held in Chicago. And we are actually going to celebrate our 50th year this coming up in 2018. So
I didn't read about that.
Yeah, so it was 1968 was the first World Games.
What a movement! What a movement and a milestone.
Yes.
That has made 50 years, since that game.
And it has grown exponentially.
But again, we are sharing so much about Special Olympics, and today we have another special guest. She is Physical Therapist of Excellence #2, Jen Roberts, and she's going to share with us her involvement at the North Carolina state level.
And in 2013, I had the opportunity to become a clinical director to kind of help facilitate some events. So that was pretty exciting. And so I've been doing that since that time with the other clinical directors. So it's been a really great experience with that. And as a physical therapist, one of our core values is social responsibility.
Absolutely.
And looking at health and wellness of our athletes and serving an underserved population.
Yes.
And with the Special Olympics athletes, a lot of the athletes, this is their very first opportunity to have access to preventative health care.
Right.
So I think that's where we really come into play, and I really like being involved on that ground level and trying to get other therapists involved with this as well.
Yes, which is great. So share with us about Fun Fitness. As a clinical director, share with us what a typical day at Fun Fitness is like. How is everything set up? How many therapists do you typically require? And how the whole operation takes place.
All right. Well, it takes a little bit of planning. Every event is at somewhere different. So we have to go in and look at the floor plan, see what will be the best flow, things like that. A screening normally from start to finish will take anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes for the athlete. There's a sign-in area where we get all their initial information, and then they have 5 different screening areas. 4 where they are actually assessed, which include aerobic, fitness, balance, strength, and flexibility. If an area is identified that they need a little bit more education on, it kind of falls outside the norms, which all the norms we print on the sheets to help with the screeners, who are the therapists and therapy students. Then they indicate that on the form. And the athletes also get a little exercise packet called a scorecard.
Yes.
And they take that to each station, and if there's an exercise they need to work on or an area of improvement, that gets circled. After they go through all 4 stations, they go to the education station where they get to work with a therapist or therapy student on the areas they need to improve.
And so yes, I call you Super PT because you do so much with UNC Rex, and you provide so many different services within the physical therapy field. And today we're highlighting aquatic physical therapy. I know that's one of your passions. So share with us some of the different conditions that you see here at UNC Rex for aquatic physical therapy.
Sure. So there's just so many that can really benefit from the aquatic environment. So it's a unique therapeutic environment because there's a lot of things that you can do in water that you can't perform on land.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of the thermal hydrodynamic properties of water, so the buoyancy of water, which is the upward force that equals the displacement of water.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, you have a resistive quality.
Sure.
So you can use it for strengthening. So patients that are deconditioned. You also, the buoyancy decreases weight bearing through like the spine and the legs. So people with back pain, joint pain, it helps with that. There's that hydrostatic pressure that water has. So, and that is basically any immersed object has that equal surface fluid pressure.
Right.
So the deeper you go in the water, the increased pressure you get. So a lot of times patients with swelling in their legs would benefit from it, or like lymphedema patients. And then, water is very viscous, so that the water molecules and the friction between them also creates that resistance. So even more strengthening
Right.
aspects. So I would say low back pain, people with joint pain. The thermal aspect to it helps rheumatoid arthritis,
Mm-hmm.
fibromyalgia. You've got spasticity, and I feel like there's a relaxing quality to water that helps with a lot of our neurological patients. People, I see after surgery, so like spinal fusions, hip replacements, but you have to make sure that your wound and your incision site is completely
Absolutely.
closed. And then there's people that have trouble with balance, walking, strength, deconditioning, lymphedema.
Right.
So a lot of different.
Okay, well, in team care we're effectively mechanics. The method we use is the McKenzie method,
Okay.
and that's all we do. We're the only certified McKenzie therapist in North Carolina. One of, I think now 100 in the world. At the time we were only 27 in the world when we started. And the McKenzie method is really a very efficient way of evaluating and treating, if appropriate, the spine. It was founded by Robin McKenzie. He found in the 50s he discovered it.
Oh wow, it's been a long time.
It's been out there a long time, but it's now starting to become mainstream as people are starting to realise they want to get better quickly. We want to reduce visits. We want to be more efficient and more effective. It really focuses on, once we understand the mechanical problem, if it's something we can treat, we do. If it's something we can't treat, we're saying to the patient, you really need to move on and go see somebody else. This is a chemical problem, it's not something we can treat. You've got a herniated disc, that's beyond what we can, the toothpaste is out of the tube,
Sure.
You're going to either need to heal, or you can possibly go get surgery, or unfortunately sometimes we're able, if it's truly non-mechanical, we've had some unfortunate discoveries like cancer, things like that. But the beauty of it is the method is so accurate in its ability to evaluate, patients are rapidly moved to where they need to get to. So we don't spend 12 visits with a patient to tell them in 12 visits, I don't know what's happening. This is 2 visits in.
So it sounds like with McKenzie, of course, you're treating the spine and also the extremities of the body, and it sounds like it provides successful outcomes.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been working with some of the insurance companies since 2005. In 2008 we were identified as the most efficient practice in the state. And on average we see patients approximately 5 visits, and they're going back to full function. Patients that we see are normal everyday people, professional athletes, special forces soldiers, people who have to be able to function without worrying about their back pain.
So Jeff, now that we see the other therapists, what was your favorite episode?
I would say I had probably 2 favorite episodes. A Special Olympics, it was good just seeing the athletes out, being able to enjoy the thrill of competition and just out having fun. And then also the spine therapy one as well. I've experienced the spinal issue myself, so just seeing some education on that always kind of hits home.
Okay, so it was very instrumental in providing information for you that you could relate to as well as apply to your everyday life.
Absolutely.
Good, very good. In November, we had a fantastic person, Chef Sharon, who shared with us about her business, Dinner Savvy. Let's take a look at her segment. And I love your location. Just driving up, the storefront is beautiful, it's welcoming and so cozy to come in, pick up your meals, and just enjoy good food that you prepared, and healthy too. I love that.
Yes.
Is that you focus on health, and you know, I'm sure you know as well as over the last couple of decades, so many people have been eating more out at restaurants and various eateries, and it is healthier to actually prepare your food at home. So it's nice that you provide such a convenience in a storefront for people that need that convenience.
It's healthier, it's cheaper. You know, eating out, even fast food eating out, is incredibly expensive. And that was another, you know, one of the motivations for doing this is, you know, I thought, you know, we could save people money. We could help them eat better and save them money. And, you know, our meals can cost as little as $4.25 a serving.
Oh, wow.
Which is cheaper than going through the drive-thru.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you have the convenience of it's here and it's fresh and it's good, and you have a lot of healthy options as well.
It all starts on our website. So each month we put up a menu that has 12 different dinner entrees on it. So we recommend that people first go to the website, dinnersavvy.com, look at what the menu is for the month. From there they can click on the place an order button. They'll be able to select, do they want to come in and put their own meals together?
Okay.
Or are they so busy that they just want us to put them together for them?
So there are two options.
There are two options. And once they make that selection, they'll be taken to a calendar where they can pick the day and the time that they want the meals, and then they just select the meals that they want and show up at that point. It's really very simple.
Great.
Popular meals this time of the year, anyway, are our chicken lasagna Florentine. You'll get to see that later on. We're going to be making that for you. Sausage breakfast casserole, fantastic for the holidays. That is my go-to meal for Christmas morning.
So Jeff, have you ever been to Dinner Savvy?
Indeed I have. I've had the chicken Florentine lasagna before.
Wow.
I can say it was fantastic.
It is. I've had that as well, and it is delicious.
Yeah, a combination of chicken, lasagna, and spinach. I like chicken and I like Italian. You combine the two. I'm a very happy man.
Very nice. So for Thanksgiving, we had a special segment where I provided a subject matter. What race are you running? So we run so many different races in life, whether it's physical, mental, or just being the best person that we could be within whatever we decide that we're going to run the race for. So stay tuned. So today our topic is going to be running the race. What race are you running? There's so many races that people can run. You can run the race of being a great student in high school or in college and getting that degree or even that diploma. You can run the race of being a great parent, a great sibling, a great aunt, a great uncle. You can run the race of being a great employee and just really, really honing into your career. Maybe you're on the race to get a new certification for your career. There's so many races you can run. Just remember, the race is not given to the swiftest or the fastest necessarily, but it is given to the person that endureth. So when you mark your race, when you decide what race you're going to go on and you start that journey, continue along and enjoy that journey. And once you finish and cross the finish line, give yourself a medal, give yourself a certificate to acknowledge all of the work that you put into it. it's so joyful, meaningful, and it feels great to have that accomplishment. I love that. Now, if you're running the race of health and wellness, I encourage you to do that every day. Sometimes it may be difficult. We understand that. However, just remember, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to pick up and finish if you've fallen by the wayside. Run that race of health and wellness. So Jeff, what race are you running?
Well, I am running the health and wellness race. Basically just trying to eat healthy in moderation, maybe have some few things, maybe not so healthy in moderation. But and just trying to stay active, exercise, make a commitment to, after work, trying to get some exercise, particularly if you have a job where you sit at a desk all day. It's, very important aspect of your life is to maintain some health and wellness and just stay active.
Absolutely, I agree. And so that's a great segue to our next few episodes where I specifically discuss posture, body mechanics, and having healthier options in the workplace. Stay tuned for some brief segments on those subject matters. So I want to share with you that there are so many benefits to having good posture and body mechanics, but the most important key is to proper posture and body mechanics is that you're practicing it good day in and day out to prevent various musculoskeletal conditions, as well as to feel good and look good and just take those unnecessary pressure off of the body parts that we have, the joints, the muscles, the ligaments, the vertebrae, the discs. All of those areas need to be relieved of pressure in order to be able to feel good and function well years and years to come. We welcome you to today's episode, Making Healthier Choices in the Workplace. It is so important to employ healthier choices in the workplace. We as adults work about a third of our lifetime. And so it's important to invest in that aspect and having a healthier environment while at work. The first aspect that I'd like to address is making healthy choices when it comes to food. What I'm going to spend most of the time today talking about is ergonomics. Most people sit at a desk to perform their work, and we sit at our desk the majority of our day, which can be, again, harmful for your body. Sitting for long periods of time is one of the worst activities that you can do to your body because it can cause a lot of tension in the body, leading to various musculoskeletal conditions. So we're still in the midst of the holidays, and I trust that you've had a Merry Christmas and a great holiday time with family and friends. So we had a great segment with our friend Michelle Hardman, who is a counselor in Cary, North Carolina, and she provided us some great tips and strategies on how to ensure that we enjoy the holidays. Take a look at this segment. Share with us why during the Christmas season holidays that the holiday blues such as anxiety, depression, and so much stress just continue to ring and ring throughout our communities, which should be a joyous and a happy time for us.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it perplexes people a lot of times, right? Because we keep telling ourselves, this should be really fun, this should be a really great time.
Sure.
And on one hand, absolutely, it can be really wonderful. But that little word should really can trip us up.
Yes.
Because, we all have experienced losses, we've experienced change in our life, some that we really wanted and
Sure.
welcomed, and some that we would have rather not had to have gone through.
Sure.
And the holidays a lot of times can bring up time to reflect on that, and we can start to compare, and we do the should, I should feel better, I shouldn't worry about that, So that can be a real sort of I picture it as a clothesline we trip over.
Sure.
Right? So I think that can be one of the things. And you know, the days are shorter.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Daylight savings time.
Yeah,
Just not too
yeah.
long ago.
Yeah, and that's a real adjustment.
Yes,
and
it
so
is.
when we have less daylight, boy, it can really affect how we feel.
Sure.
So we have less hours of sunlight. It's darker all around. So that can really affect how our brains make us feel.
Sure.
And then of course, let's not forget the obvious, right? The stressors, the budgets, the finances, the people, the parties, the drinking,
shopping.
the eating, right? You know, so it's really important to take care of yourself first and foremost. I love to tell people it's like when you're on a plane and they say in the event of loss of pressure, right, the oxygen mask drops down. And what do they tell you? They tell you put your oxygen
on
mask first,
Yes.
right, before you help others. And I think that's really applicable in the holiday season.
Absolutely.
Taking those breaks, making a list now for what kind of things give me respite and help me recharge my batteries. So that when I'm overwhelmed and in the thick of it, I can go to my list and say, oh yeah, I just want to have a mocha from Starbucks.
Absolutely. So Jeff, what was your take-home message from this segment?
I think with that segment, what I got out of it was to pace yourself. Don't let everything build up. Don't let your shopping list wait till the last minute to get everything done, and then you feel overwhelmed and stressed. So
Sure.
pace yourself.
That's a good point in pacing yourself. And we can certainly use that during the holidays, but also throughout our entire life is just pace yourself and plan ahead and make sure you enjoy the moments as opposed to being rushed or feeling anxious. And finally, I did the final segment, which provided us the Wellness Love Lessons episode. The 5 Wellness Love Lessons. Take a look at this episode. Today we are going to talk about the 5 wellness love languages that I have coined. And I have coined these love lessons because they've been such an instrumental part of my life and how I've structured my life in ensuring that I have attained good health and wellness throughout the course of my lifespan thus far. And it will also be an investment into my lifespan every day in the future. And so today we're going to focus on that, and we want to encourage you, we want to champion you, we want to inspire you to practice these love lessons throughout your journey. The wellness love lessons are to ensure that you are healthy, not only today, but also in the future. And Jeff, I know that this episode was inspiring. Do you have any wellness love lessons that you'll be focusing on in the 2018 new year?
Well, I plan to continue to focus on nutrition and exercise. Got to be honest with you, in December, I have a tendency to hit the eggnog kind of hard. Like to enjoy all the foods, all the sweets and everything. So I kind of take December off and pretty much eat whatever I might feel like. Just enjoy the holiday season, enjoy the eggnog. So starting in the new year in January, I plan on getting back to a healthy diet, exercising more, up in the cardio, up in the strength training, and just refocusing my diet for 2018.
That's great. And so 2018 poses a lot of opportunity for us to refocus our health and wellness. We have some great lineups for 2018 season. We're excited about having various professionals who will share with us how you can get started on your health and wellness year and also get rid of some of those resolutions, some of those bad eating habits and not exercising. We want to empower you to embrace health and wellness and join us today on this journey. And we look forward to serving you in the next season, 2018. So at this time, we thank you for tuning in. We wish you well as always, and